All right, everyone. So I've been a huge fan of these account takeover videos that have been popping up for Raid Shadow Legends, especially by Hell Hades. I think he does a really good job at them. What I wanted to do today is kind of my own little take on a similar type of video. Now, instead of doing an account takeover for a specific individual, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to get to everybody who wanted them. I wanted to kind of do a general account takeover for everyone. So what I wanted to do today is just go through various aspects of the game and share with you guys some quick tips and things that you guys can do in a rather short period of time that could drastically improve the performance of your account. So let's jump right to it and start off with number one on the list. And I think a lot of these account takeover videos also start off with this right here. That is going to be the Great Hall, because this is something that you could easily just spend either a few minutes working out right now, or make a plan in the future if you don't have the medals to do it right now. And this is really going to improve the performance of your account. Now, specifically to the advice that I would give you guys, I think one thing that I really notice a lot of people do is they really overfixate on maxing out certain things before they start to work on anything else. And I think this is fine, especially for things like accuracy, because it's so important, and you can get a whole bunch of accuracy and really not have to worry nearly as much about it on things like your gear. But you really also want to kind of distribute your medals across the things that you don't really have any levels in. And that's because even though the stats might not be as ideal, the amount of medals that it takes in order to get those early levels is very few in comparison to the amount of medals that you need for the later stuff. And remember that even though it looks like it just goes up a little bit over the levels, gold medals are actually worth twice as much as silver medals, and silver medals are worth twice as much as bronze medals. So these early levels up until you start spending silver medals are super cheap. With the amount of medals that just one gold upgrade is going to cost, you could easily go back through and get a ton of those early levels across a bunch of other stats. So you absolutely don't need to do it like I did. I have it absolutely perfectly even. That's a little bit overboard. Of course, if you don't have certain champions in certain affinities, you can kind of work with it the way that you feel is best for the champions that you do have. But especially if you have things that are still at no levels at all, absolutely going to be worth going back through and buying some of those up. So that's something that hopefully should help out. Now moving on to number two, and this is going to be a really big one. I could easily not only spend one video really getting into this in detail, but several videos. I'm going to try my best to just give you guys the general wrap up here of what you can do in a short period of time that relates to your gear, inventory, and management. The most important thing that I want to say when it comes to artifacts and Raid Shadow Legends, especially as you start getting to that 700, is first of all, you actually have a bit more storage than you might think you do, because if you guys have been keeping champions in your champion vault, you can actually go back through and equip every single one of your champions with a full artifact set, and of course, at least a ring if you don't have them ascended. So that's not only additional storage, but it'll also allow you to at least have your champions, even if you don't use them that much or at all, they'll have some sort of gear if you do need to use them in an emergency situation. So you can kind of just throw together whatever pile of gear on them that you want. That's going to help out with your artifact storage. So that's one thing that you can do. Now, the other thing that I really recommend is when you guys are getting rid of the artifacts that you actually have, you really want to try to have a system in place to where you are making sure that you're getting rid of your worst artifacts first. So all the worst out of the 700 artifacts should be the ones that you're vendoring and getting rid of, and you want to make sure that you always have the best possible collection of artifacts. You don't want to get into a system where you accidentally end up vendoring decent artifacts, and then you realize you go back through and you're actually holding on to stuff that's really, really bad. That's way worse than the stuff that you're vendoring right now. So what I personally like to do, and this is my little system right here, you guys can use it, you can use something else, but me, I know that when I have an item that's upgraded to a minimum of +4, that means that I've taken a look at that item, and I know that it's at least something that I want to either upgrade later on or hold on to for the time being. If I've upgraded to +8 or +12 or higher, that's something that I definitely want to keep for at least a while. So if I have stuff in my actual artifact storage that has not been upgraded at all, it's at +0 or anything under +4, that means that I really haven't taken a look at it, and that's probably something that I want to look at to either continue upgrading or just vendor it right away. So whatever you use to kind of keep this sorted out that works best for you, it's just important to make sure that you're not vendoring your good artifacts and you have a system in place to where the worst ones get sold first of all. So that's going to be a little bit of a wrap up there. All right, next up on the list is the clan boss. Now, again, this is one of those things easily spend not only one video, but several videos talking about. The one thing that I want to say in this video, which is something you could fix really quickly and easily, is, are you quite simply in the wrong clan? And what do I mean by that? Well, this is something you can easily do that is actually going to drastically improve your account. Simply switching clans, it could be the trick that it just takes. That's all you need for a start here. And the reason why I say that is because, especially if you're in a clan where the progress that you're at in your account and what damage that you are doing for each key that you're using is not in line with where your clan is at, then you're missing out on rewards every single day, and it really adds up. Clan boss rewards are very good, and they are absolutely going to help out your account progress significantly, especially if you're free to play or you don't spend a lot of money on the game. You get some very valuable rewards. It's a huge source of shards, of skill books, of 2 of the very good sets of gear in the game. So making sure that you want to use your keys on the clan boss with the same, you want to have it in line with the same stuff that your clan members are doing to make sure that you are getting the bonus chests. If you find yourself in a clan where you are every day attacking a boss that is not getting killed, and your clan members are doing some other boss and you're only getting 1 chest, that is a very clear sign that you need to switch to a clan that is more in line with what your goals are. So that's a really big one. You could easily just take a few minutes to do that anytime, and those rewards are going to pile up to make a big difference over a few weeks or so. So that's next up on the list right there. All right, Arena. Now, this is going to be, I guess you could say, a little bit more useful for people that are in gold, but this is going to really make a big difference over a long period of time, just like that clan boss thing. And this is something that I've really started to notice a lot more ever since the implementation of Platinum, and that is you really want to make sure that you are getting as much out of your arena tokens as you can, and you're not in an area or a bracket or a certain point threshold to where you feel like the majority of matches are matches that you are not going to be beating. Now, always make sure that you utilize your free refresh when you can, whenever you're active in playing the game, to make sure that you have all of your tokens being spent and they're not going to waste. But if you find yourself that you're getting way too high on arena points, especially if you're in gold 4 right here, and you know, say I was at 3,500 or higher, if you are at that point, your matches are going to start to get really difficult, and if you don't really have the right team for it, what that's going to mean is it's going to mean that your arena tokens are probably going to be going to waste. You're either going to be losing matches, or you're just going to realize that you're not actually fighting teams to get those medals. So you want to put yourself in a position to where you can actually farm those medals steadily and reliably so that you can be working on your clan upgrades. So very, very important, and again, mostly important to people in Gold 4. Kind of find that best area in the Gold 4 bracket to where you feel like there's a good enough number of matches that you're actually able to successfully conquer. All right, now moving on to the next thing on the list here, and that is going to be Faction Wars. Really simple one right here. One of those things I could get into a lot more detail, but absolutely make sure that even if you are done progressing on Faction Wars for the time being, make sure that your keys do not go to waste. So whenever it is, just make sure, even if it means going to stage 1 and running through this just to get those 1-star glyphs, that's fine. It should not take you very long because of how easy stage 1 is. You only get 12 of these clan keys a day. There's still no method, to my knowledge, to be able to get more. If they did implement it, it would probably cost gems or something. So just make sure that you quickly use these before the actual daily reset. Get whatever star glyphs that you can, and trust me, it's worth the minute or 2 or 3 or however long it takes each day to do it for the future. Having a good reserve of glyphs is very important as you really progress your account. You have a lot of gear. You're going to be not only leveling up gear a lot, but you're going to be glyphing gear a lot as well, and it really does eat up those glyphs more than you might think. So, you know, if you guys see here, I have a pretty large reserve of glyphs, and it is constantly growing, and even though I am kind of at a standstill in many points in Faction Wars progression, I always still make sure to go through and use all my keys before the daily reset. Alright, so that is the next one on the list. And then we have the last thing that I want to mention right now, really, really important. This might actually be a little bit of a wake-up call. I know that this is something that I made the major mistake of doing for a while, and that is masteries. Make sure that you go back through and you take a look at the masteries on champions that maybe you didn't actually work on the masteries until, it was when you were much newer to the game. You might have forgotten some really, really important keystone stuff that's going to make a huge difference in your account performance, but also make sure to utilize that free reset if you still have it. So masteries, of course, if you've already used your free reset, it's going to cost 150 gems to reset it, and that's still going to be worth it if it's a champion that you use a lot and you really, really messed up your masteries, like you're missing some really crucial stuff. I know that I did this, for example, like for the longest period of time, I wasn't even taking like the crit damage one, or I think I took the attack one on a few champions instead of the crit rate one. That's a pretty major mistake right there, and I would say if it's a champion you use a lot, even that one master right there is probably worth it because of how much better this crit rate one is in comparison to the attack one. The accuracy one is very, very useful for most champions, whereas the HP one is only really useful for, HP based champions. So make sure that you do utilize this free reset though, if you haven't, on the champions that maybe you geared up and did the masteries on a very long time ago. So that's going to make a big difference. When I went through and I redid my masteries on a lot of my most used champions, I immediately noticed, especially on the clan boss, my damage went up by something like 15, 20, 25%. So anyway, there's a lot of other things that I could talk about, and I know, especially these account takeover videos, they could be very detailed and very complex, but I'm going to leave it here for the time being because I like to keep my videos at around this time. So maybe a part 2 in the future, who knows? Either way, I'm really hoping that this helped you guys out at least a little bit, give you a little bit of a grasp of things that you might be able to work on with your account, and that's going to be it for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed. And if you guys did enjoy this video and you want more in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to help out, toss a quick like as well. It means more than you can imagine. So thank you to all of you guys to do that. And more raid videos should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. We're getting really close to 200 videos for Raid Shadow Legends on the channel as well. So check out the Raid Shadow Legends playlist. And that's going to be it for today. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Take care. And until next time, this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.